concept of a time traveler is an interesting one. The idea that someone could travel back in time and potentially change the outcome of world-changing events has long fascinated people. Scientists have said that the idea of this is not rooted in reality, and that humans will never be able to travel back in time. This hasn't stopped alleged time travelers from coming forward with predictions about what's going to happen in the future, and one of the most recent ones states that a huge ocean creature will be discovered. The time traveler in question stated that they come from 2236, and that they will let people know about certain events that unfold, even going on to say that a musician who allegedly passed away will come back to life. Many were interested in the mysterious sea creature that will wash ashore, and guesses for what this is range from an entirely new species to ancient creatures that have been extinct for millions of years, with some going with the megalodon. The time traveler didn't elaborate on the creature, but did say that it would wash up soon, and would be one of the largest ocean creatures that we've ever found. Scientists have said the ocean is home to thousands of undiscovered species, and as of right now it's anyone's guess as to what could be lurking in their depths. Although theories of sea monsters and ancient sharks have been debunked by researchers, with them saying that there isn't enough evidence to prove that they exist, this hasn't stopped people like fishermen coming forward with their stories, detailing that they've encountered abnormally large sharks that don't fit the description of the great white, or the whale shark, which is the largest fish in the ocean. According to one fisherman in Australia, they encountered a large 35-foot shark, saying that the creature came up to his boat and headbutted the engine. After circling his boat for around a minute, it then dived into the depths, with the fisherman saying that he didn't see it again. Interestingly enough, this isn't the first time that the fisherman had heard stories of large sharks, saying that other fishermen have reported encountering sharks over 30 feet. Not only has this terrified the fishermen, but it's led to some of them refusing to visit their prime fishing spots. It's for this reason that some have speculated that the megalodon could have survived into the modern day, and now resides deep within the ocean. One idea that believers have often put forward is that these sharks had to go deeper because their main source of prey, which would have been whales, ended up going to colder waters, and this meant that the megalodon had to adapt to a new surrounding in order to survive. As mentioned though, marine biologists have said that we would see evidence of these creatures if they made it into the modern day, saying that we would occasionally see them wash ashore, and would also see things like bite marks on modern day cetaceans. With that being said, the ocean is still surprising researchers into the modern day. 2019 saw the discovery of a new species of whale, specifically a newfound baleen whale species, and this was found within the Gulf of Mexico. It's surprising that such a large species of animal can go completely undetected in the modern day, but that's exactly what happened. Despite its ever so recent discovery, this animal has already made it to the endangered list. Dubbed Rice's whale, this animal can reach a staggering 42 feet in length, residing in the Gulf for the entire duration of the year. Consistently with the other baleen whale species, Rice's whales can weigh 60,000 pounds, which is around 30 tons, and they have 3 lateral ridges upon the jaw. Up until recently, the Rice's whale had been grouped with the Brode's whale, though new studies have found crucial morphological differences between the skulls of these two whale species, as well as the genetic makeup being different. Soon after their discovery, Rice's whales were added to the United States Endangered Species Act, as well as the Marine Mammal Protection Act, aiming to preserve the lives of the few Rice's whales remaining. Current estimates suggest that there's less than 100 of these mammals in the wild. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, these rice whales are most vulnerable and most likely to endure more harm through vessel strikes, ocean noise, energy exploration, development and production, oil spills and responses, entanglement in fishing gear and ocean debris. It's one of the 21st century's worst ongoing issues, the near extinction of so many majestic, beautiful animals and wildlife, and sadly it's a battle that we're losing. One idea then is due to large whales still being discovered in our oceans. The time traveller could be referring to a new species of whale that may wash up somewhere. One person said the following: "Here's the thing though, going back in time and warning people about specific events may simply alter the future timeline you came from. Thus the predictions may not come true, because the person is telling you about them and disrupting things. There will probably never be a way to tell if someone is actually a time traveller or not, because whatever they tell us may not come true. For example, they said that a celebrity will make themselves known, and the celebrity may see this trending and make the decision to remain anonymous. It doesn't disprove that said celebrity came out alive in the traveller's version of the future, only that things have changed if they're telling the truth." End quote. As of right now, those scientists stick by their statement, saying that there's no way that humans will be able to travel back in time. But this hasn't stopped alleged time travellers from coming forward with their statements. Only time will tell whether these predictions will come true. This mysterious cube has been detected above Texas, and interestingly, according to residents, this isn't the first time that it's been seen. One resident said that this object has been seen 4 or 5 times, and that each time it's seen it usually just sits in the clouds. Those who have seen it have given it the name of the cube, and detail that most of the time it just sits in the clouds before vanishing. These ominous looking objects have led to a variety of different theories to be put forward, although as of right now there's no definitive idea for what these things are. One eyewitness said the following: "It began to get very windy out, and I noticed a small portion of clouds began to swirl and circle in on each other, forming a portal, at which point the portal became jet black." While another user said this: "Me and a few neighbours were outside talking when we noticed a strange object in their clouds. We were all seeing the same thing, a large cube that was just hovering there. Half of the object was in the clouds, but we could make out corners of this thing. I had heard of these reports before my sighting, but I never thought that I'd see it. This thing made no sense, and if I had to guess I would say that we watched it for around 5 minutes, before it slowly made its way above the clouds, vanishing from our view. Since this sighting I haven't seen it since." End quote. A man by the name of Justin said he saw one of these cubes above Missouri, saying the following: "I was driving northbound and I noticed a very shiny object flying through the sky, kinda heading in my direction. When I first spotted it I thought it was one of our local hospital helicopters, because it's not unusual to see them. Once I got to my closest point with the object I could tell it wasn't trash. It looked like a solid metal cube that was rotating in multiple directions. It had lights around them and I could see them during the daytime, and this thing has haunted me after witnessing it." According to reports, the object was flying against the wind that day, so I don't believe it was a balloon. Plus, the Federal Aviation Administration said they showed nothing in that area. I've never seen a drone like that, and couldn't understand how it'd stay in the air with that much wind. I really couldn't tell you what it was." End quote. Interestingly, one of these cubes was seen above White Sands Missile Test Range, an area that's been a hotspot of mysterious activity. Back in the late 1980s, a handful of researchers would come together to investigate and document the case of an Air Force E-6 sergeant that was reportedly the victim of an impossible-to-explain exploration, with direct evidence of a mysterious aircraft sighting to support their claims of strange intervention. Back in 1976, an Air Force sergeant by the name of Jonathan P. Lewitt was reported missing when stationed at the White Sands Missile Test Range back in March of that year. According to a senior officer's report, the sergeant and the senior officer were sent to travel several miles nearby the missile testing area to recover large amounts of debris that were believed to have been the product of used missiles. After a period of time recovering debris, the two military personnel split up to cover more ground looking for debris in the surrounding desert, believing that the remaining pieces would be small enough for one person to carry. It was during their separation that the senior officer claimed to have heard the screams of the Air Force sergeant, coming from the direction of where the sergeant had left to go searching for the missile debris. After crossing several dunes that were blocking the view of the sergeant's position, the senior officer claimed to have seen a large aircraft in the shape of a disc, hovering low above the ground. According to the officer, a single long metallic tentacle was coming out from the underside of the craft and was wrapped around the body of the Air Force sergeant as it dragged the sergeant into the craft and then suddenly shot away at a tremendous speed. Immediately after this sighting, the senior officer returned to the military base and reported what happened, but was unfortunately arrested by military officers who believed he'd fabricated the story and had disposed of the sergeant. Shortly after his arrest, military investigators began searching the immediate areas surrounding the missile test range in order to recover the body of the missing sergeant, but were unable to recover any evidence of foul play. Over the next 3 days, the senior officer was held at the military base for investigation and court-martialed for the first degree. After 3 days, however, the body of the Air Force sergeant was recovered 20 miles away from the missile testing range and provided a substantial amount of evidence surrounding the senior officer's claims. The wounds were made with clinical and precise marks, with various areas being completely removed from the body. Despite the fact that the cardiovascular organs had not been removed or collapsed, there was no blood found on or within the body, as if the body had been completely drained from any bodily fluids. Shortly after the body was found, the senior officer was released from custody without charges. So what do you make of these mysterious black cubes? And what do you think happened to Air Force Sergeant Jonathan P. Lewent? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.